live. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Chris Legospi. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about how to see and draw the rib cage. The rib cage is the most important structure in the body to get right. It's the biggest skeletal structure of the body, and it's part of the biggest overall structure of the body, the torso. So we can't get the figure to look right unless our torsos look right. And we can't get our torsos to look right without a properly drawn rib cage. And of course, all the beautiful anatomy and things around it. So what we'll do is we'll explore some ideas on how we can observe the rib cage through the skin. And then we'll demonstrate some ideas on how to draw them properly, even if you can't see it clearly. And here's a recent example of just a drawing from my sketchbook. And if you like this video, if you like my work, and you want more figure drawing resources, I have a huge figure drawing download available now on my website. So go to www.draw, and there you can enter your email and join my free insiders email list, and you'll get instant access to all of my best free resources, downloads, and you can even get discounts on courses and my premium programs and coaching as well. So go to www.drawwithchris.com and you'll be good to go. And before we begin, comment below. Where are you located? Where are you watching from? And what time is it for you? I am currently in Thailand right now, and it's 10 in the morning, Saturday morning for me. So thank you for being here, wherever you are. So what are we looking for here? We're looking for the rib cage, and notice it has a distinctive shape that we all recognize. But the thing, obviously, that makes it difficult is all the anatomy that's piled on top. The rib cage is the skeletal structure, and lots of beautiful, pretty muscles that we all love to draw are going to be sitting on top of these, so it'll obviously hide the rib cage. So the first thing we need to do is understand that the rib cage, like anything we need to draw, is a form. So however you want to draw a geometrically based form, you can use one of these, you can use a box, you can use a tapering box, but it doesn't matter. But what is important to note when you use your construction form is that there is a taper, meaning it's smaller on one end and larger on the other end, and so it kind of has this like a mini skirt, bell, lampshade shape. It's a cone that tapers, so it gets smaller at the neck, obviously, and of course we have the beautiful curve. So I like this sort of bullet shaped, bell shaped, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is a three-dimensional form. When we draw, we want to think, see and think and draw in 3D. Oh, wait a second. Oh, excuse me, there, I had a bit of a runny nose there. So we want to think in terms of 3D. So for any three-dimensional form, we need, let me try to draw a little 3D box here. We need the top. We need the top. We need the bottom. We need the two sides. And then we need the middle. So we already understand basic three-dimensional drawing, top, side, and middle. Now the rib cage obviously has an opening. And the middle, right here, is made up of a center bone called the sternum. So it's often not easy to see, but this point is, and we'll look at some examples there, the bottom of the sternum and the top of the rib opening of the rib cage. Now the bottom of the rib cage is open here, as we all know, because these are your abs and your organs and things. But at the bottom right here, these are what's called the costal ribs. So the costal ribs make up the bottom and the side. So that's something we want to look for. These ribs right here, they're called the costal ribs. They're actually made of cartilage. They're not bone. Coastal, like the coast of a landmass, the coast where the beach is. And then the top of the rib cage tapers, right? So it goes inward, tapers towards your spine, your neck. But the top in front view, we can see with the top of the sternum and these beautiful bones called the clavicles, also known as collarbones. Comment below if you ever had a collarbone injury. I've never had one, but I've had a shoulder injury. This is a common injury among athletic people, or maybe you ride motorcycles or dirt bikes. You may have injured your collarbone because they're very thin, they're easy to break. So that gives us the top in front view. The back view, we have the what's called the scapula, but we're not going to talk about back view today. So, and then the sides we have the actual ribs. So these are the bony parts of the rib cage, right? So we see these a lot on some lean models. On models who aren't lean, we not so much, but we'll talk about how to see these. And actually, what we want to look for on the sides are the muscles, and we'll talk about that next. So we need, number one, the top. Number two, the bottom. And the bottom is made up of 2A and 2B. Costal, sternum, the two sides. So these are the actual ribs themselves. Oh, the top equals clavicle and sternum. And then the front, the middle is these guys right here, which is the sternum. So remember these, because we're going to be looking for these when we observe the model. Let's do that now. So we have this. You're like, whoa, what's going on, Chris? That's quite confusing. It's got a bunch of muscles. I don't see any of the ribs at all. Or do I? Well, this is when we use the muscles to help us find the what we need, top, side, middle, and front, right? So these are the muscles that attach to your ribs at the side and the front. They're known as the serratus anterior, and these are the exterior obliques or lateral obliques. Obliques, obliques, oblique. So serratus, anterior means front. So serratus and the obliques. And notice on this anatomical model here, notice how the serratus kind of looks like the shape of the ribs, and you would be correct. You would be correct because the not serratus, I'm sorry, the obliques are so thin. They're so thin, and they have these thin little cuts that fall along the rib. So these are closer to the shape of the rib than any other muscle. These also help guide us to the rib, and they do attach to the ribs, but they attach at this like curved fan-like shape. So they don't follow the ribs. They actually go up. You know, you see how it goes up, up, up. So it's sort of this kind of attachment. You see that? It kind of goes against the flow of the rib cage, but the serratus, the obliques go along. So a little bit against and then along. But we put them together, and then that'll help us find the individual rib bones, which will help us find the bottom. Also notice here too, we'll talk about this as well. You see this little highlight right here? You see that highlight right here? That highlight is the corner of a box. So we need corners right here, which is right here. You see that? That's a sharp, bony ridge. It's a rib cage. It's a thin, ridgy bone. So that corner is right here. You see the highlight? Every highlight is an indication of a corner, two planes intersecting. So we want to look for these highlights as well. So when we draw the figure, we know we start with the shape. So where is our rib cage here? Where is the rib cage? How do we see the rib cage here? Well, we go with center line. We can clearly see a center line. We follow his pectoralis muscle. Because remember, we need the center of any three-dimensional form. We can see the line of his pectoralis. And then we can see the end of his pectoralis. Now we know the pectoralis, chest muscle, is somewhat near the top of the pelvis, near the top of the opening of pectoralis attaches to the sternum. So we know at the bottom of the pecs, we know that the point, I forgot what it's called, the point of this, the bottom of the sternum. You can see that. You see the split, you know that. Okay, so we have this much. Now we have a bunch of muscles, and we have the serratus, and then we have the obliques. So where are we? Where is this though? Where is this? We don't know where the bottom wings are yet. Do we have any clues? We know the top is buried under all his big muscles there. Do we have any clues? Well, the abdominals, they're very clear, but do they help us? Now notice this ab has a little bit of a curve, and notice that remember these are the obliques. So we know the obliques follow the shape of the rib. So we have a little bit of a curve here, a little bit of a curve here. We have that. We have the obliques, which we know sort of follow. I don't quite know where the bottom is yet, but I can take my best guess. If I follow the line of the obliques, see, here, 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 if we follow that, that's just a guess. That's just my guess. It's an educated guess. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. Now we know the serratus, which we can see here. Remember, the serratus actually go up and against the flow of the rib. And these are the obliques being contracted. This is the giant lat muscle flowing along the backside of the rib. This is a bunch of shoulder muscles, teres major, shoulder muscle, shoulder muscle, shoulder muscle. This guy's got huge arms. And then we got these ribs, abdominal muscles, and then more of his obliques being pressed. And there you go. So that's our basic construction, and then we just add our, then we can move forward with the drawing, you know, add lighting or refine whatever we need to do. So there's an example of seeing the rib cage through a bunch of muscles, which is which will take some experience because if you're like me and you like to draw superheroes and things like that, big muscle dudes and fighters, um, you're going to need to be able to see the rib cage correctly through all that muscle. And in this case, we were able to use some of the clues of the chest line, center line, finding the center of the form. We found the bottom through the obliques and also the sides with the serratus. So remember, the thing to note is that obliques flow along the rib, serratus flows slightly against the rib in a sort of fan-like shape. So that's the thing. That's how you can look at when you next time you see a muscular model, okay, am I looking at serratus or am I looking at obliques? Obliques flow naturally along the rib cage. That's the difference. Oh, and if you just joined us, we are doing some, we're talking about the rib cage, how to see and identify the rib cage through the skin, through the anatomy, through the muscles, through the fat. And now we're going to do some demonstrations. So if you like this video so far, if you like my work, and you want to learn more about figure drawing, I have a huge figure drawing download available now on my website, as well as other resources, lessons, and downloads. It's all free for email subscribers, so go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email, join my Insiders Club email list, and you'll get instant access to all of my best figure drawing content and resources, as well as discounts on courses and my premium programs and coaching as well. So go to www.drawwithchris.com. Okay, so Chris, what if we are not drawing a big muscle guy? What if we're drawing a feminine subject, or a subject that doesn't have big muscles, or a subject that doesn't have clear anatomy? What do we do? Okay, well, in this case, we can't see any of this stuff, right? The serratus, the obliques. Of course, everyone has serratus and obliques, but obviously we can't see them all the time. So what do we do? In this case, we have to use highlights. So remember this, in order for us to shoot. Sorry, forgot about the lights. So in order for us to see and draw three-dimensionally, we need top, bottom, two sides, and the middle. Now, form, especially bony forms, are are very sharp. They have corners. If you look at a rib cage bone or individual rib, right, it's quite bony. You know, it has a sharp corner. And anytime you get a sharp corner, you get a highlight. So this corner will produce a highlight. So any boxy thing will produce a highlight. So what we need to do is instead look for highlights to help us assemble what we need to assemble. So what do we have here? Well, let's keep this on screen here. So what do we have here? We see a highlight here. So that, what is that? I don't think that's bone. What that is the inside of her pectoralis muscle, I think. It produces a highlight because the pectoralis is a sharp, kind of flat muscle. What about here, right there? You see that little highlight right there? What is that? What is that? I think that that is the abdominal wall. So your abs, right? Your abs have these little boxes kind of things. See how your abs are kind of square-ish? So that's probably the corner of abdominal wall. But you see here, there's subtle highlights here that flow down. There's a subtle highlight here. And that, my friends, is this. Remember, just like on the other example, we looked for the highlight. There's a highlight here, right there. And then if we follow that, you see it's a curved highlight. We follow it down, it eventually will end and start to go upwards. So that way we know right there is this. And you see how her sides bulge out right here, and then it comes in, bulging out and comes in. So if I exaggerate it, it goes out and then in, and then her waist and then her hips. So that's exaggerated, but that's what I'm looking for. And you see that right there. So that bulge right there, that's this. You see? That's the bulge of the side of the rib as we go in, and then we follow these two, and we relate them as a curve. You see that curve? Right there is right here. So now we know we have the middle, we have the bottom, we have the front, we have the side, we have one side. We don't see this side too well, but we can kind of piece it together. It's totally in shadow and there's not a lot of detail to work with, but we can piece it together. And what else do we have? We have the top. You see how clear her clavicles are, remember? So the top, the front, we have one side, we have the center, and then we have a bottom. So that's all we need. That's all we need. We got all four. Now let's try to construct this rib cage based on our observations here. So I have my 2D construction, and I put this line here. It's just this is my guess. What I'm doing is I'm guessing. I can see the belly button. I can kind of see the top, right, of the rib cage. So I'm just kind of guessing. I know the pinch of her waist is here. Her hip line is here. So something like that. So I'm close. I just gave myself a guess. Taking my best guess. Now let's be a bit more accurate. So center line. Okay, so now we can clearly see the opening here. Center line. Those are her ab muscles. All of this bulge right here. This is actually her abdominals. These are her abdominal muscles. So she's a lean model. So she probably has quite. She's probably quite fit and has developed ab muscles. So her ab muscles will produce a nice, firm core shadow edge. So remember the highlight. Following it down, we see the bulge, and then we see it come back in, and we're following the highlight. You see that natural curve. See that beautiful curve? It's already there. And then we follow it down the waist to the hip. So now we're at the hip. So we got one side, we get the middle. We can put the clavicles in to get the top. And then finally, to get the other side, I can't see any. There's no detail and it's in shadow. So here we have to use our imagination. Here we have to first design. So knowledge, how to draw this section. This is important. I got to write this down. It's really important. How do we draw what we can't see? Well, first we need some knowledge, number one. And number two, we need to design. Obviously, knowledge, we need this stuff, right? We need to know what this stuff looks like. We need this stuff and this stuff. So you need to do some homework. You don't have to be an anatomy expert, but it helps. You see how knowing this helps you to draw this, because you will have to draw many situations that you just can't see what the hell's going on. So I don't know how else to explain it. You have to come to the table with some knowledge. So you have to hit the books. I know not everybody likes anatomy. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't enjoy it that much. It's very fascinating to me, so that's why I do it. And I'm a teacher, so I have to know it so I can talk about it. So you have to have some knowledge. And number two is design. Design means you draw something that looks pretty and that reads well. It's that simple. It's beautiful, aesthetically pretty, and it reads well. It's clear, that says clear, C-L-E. Steve Houston calls it ring true. Reads, it's clear. So what do we need? We need a rib cage. We already have this side. Why don't we just follow what we have and try to mirror it with our drawing? Because if we were to take this to a finished drawing, this would be all in shadow anyway. So I don't really need to construct it, but just for me, just for learning, boom, boom, boom. There it is. There it is. The other side we don't really need, also in shadow. There's more interesting things happening. So design-wise, I just do that. Finish with the abdomen. Finish with the obliques. Lead into the hips. Make sure center line is aligned. Make sure I'm close or approximately close to where the belly button should be. And all of this stuff can be moved around, but the important thing, we got right. We got this right, my friends. So congratulations. If you're following along, congratulations. This is not easy. It's not easy to see a rib cage through this. And how much time we got? I think this is a good stopping point here. I'll continue to demonstrate on another video some more difficult ones. So maybe comment below. You can help me out here. Comment below. So for the next video, do you want to see muscle guys? Let's call it muscle guys. Muscle guys. Or do you want to see more subtle problem solving? Subtle poses, whatever. So comment below, guys. Whatever you guys decide, I will do in the next video. Do you want to see more how to see anatomy, how to see structures through muscles and things like that? How to see, because it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy to see anatomy through bulging muscles. Or do you want to be able to have more subtle poses, like, oh, I want to draw more feminine poses in subtle light. How do I see the rib cage? So comment below, guys. We'll tackle that on the next video. I really appreciate you watching today. Thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget, if you like this video and you like my work and you want more figure drawing resources, I have huge figure drawing downloads, lessons, references, and handouts. I have a giant figure drawing resource download available now on my website. So go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can sign up for my free insiders email list, and you get instant access to all my best free resources. You can even get a free preview of my life drawing book, as well as discounts to my courses and premium programs as well. So go to www.drawwithchris.com, and I will see you in the next video. So until next time, take care. Bye-bye.